June 9th is a day of action that every parent in Canada and around the world ought to write down, jot down. It's a day of action to counter the war against our children and our families. I'm pleased to have Shannon with me here today at Scuttlebutt Lodge to talk more about what's going to happen on June 9th here in Ottawa and around the country. Thanks for being here, Shannon.
Thanks for having me, Randy. You know, I was at a conference recently, and a teacher, some people may know Chanel Fall, was talking about the rainbow stuff that's been happening in schools across the country and around North America. A lot of pushback in the United States, big legislative controversies everywhere as school boards push back and as medical systems are being forced into compliance with some boundaries around how we deal with trans-identified children in our schools, in the medical system. And she said, you know, like they just make up days. You know, Pink Shirt Day in public school isn't just a day. I mean, it's a made-up day. Yeah. But it's a week because kids start getting the propaganda about Pink Shirt Day a week before, and they're coloring pictures and they're doing cutouts and they're preparing plays and they're doing activities. And it's become the point. The Government of Canada website is now declaring Pride Season.
Pride Season
runs
correct.
From the beginning of June through September, which is the third of the year, and people have serious questions about boundaries. And when has this gone too far? Billboard Chris Elston is coming to Ottawa on June the 9th, along with a young firebrand, Josh Alexander. Josh was expelled from his school in Renfrew at the beginning of the year. He can't complete his education because he said God created man and woman, and he defended his religious beliefs at a Catholic school. And now his parents, who are both teachers, have been suspended from their jobs, even though Josh has emancipated himself from them. And the Rainbow Mafia is not tolerating any kind of dissent. So we're going to have
coming down hard on everybody. Everybody who is speaking out.
Yep.
Or even affiliated with people who are speaking out.
That's right.
Such as Josh's parents. But June 9th, Billboard Chris and Josh Alexander are going to be in Ottawa.
That's right.
To rally families, parents, and children who are opposed to this, I can't think of a better word to use than war on our children, as we attempt to convince them that they were born in the wrong bodies and that their natural instincts are wrong and perverted, and their perverted fantasies are normal. So whereabouts in Ottawa, and how can people get engaged around the country on this day of action on June 9th?
So Chris chose Broadview Avenue in Ottawa. That's kind of in the heart of the city, where there are 3 schools. Chris visited there a couple of years ago, along with myself and Chanel, who I mentioned earlier. And we stood across the street from a public high school, and we were mobbed by an estimated, there was 200 to 300 of these Rainbow Mafia activists who surrounded us and intimidated us and wrapped banners around our heads. And Chris's car was vandalized. So this happened in late 2021. It was fueled by the Ottawa District School Board, Carleton District School Board, who sent out a letter to all their parents. It was fueled by a member of provincial parliament, NDP, Joel Harden. It was fueled by a person who became a mayoral candidate, Catherine McKenney, to get political points that they were going to run these bigots out of town. And that's the same rhetoric we're getting now.
So these were elected political people, and the school board itself were rallying opposition against to those parents who were speaking out about this indoctrination.
Correct.
And this harm that they were causing
Yep.
to children.
Viewers probably know Billboard Chris wears a sign that says children cannot consent to puberty blockers, which shouldn't be controversial. The medical research is increasingly pointing that this is, at the very least, a controversial issue that needs to get discussed, but more now that they're causing more harm than good. British Medical Journal came out with a piece early this year. And the response by the school boards and any institution that you try and raise these issues with in Canada is that you're a transphobic bigot who's trying to erase human rights, and now the narrative is it's a trans genocide. These claims of victimization become more and more hyperbolic, and so do the clampdown tactics of the institutions in power to silence any criticism and concern of parents. And it's leading to real serious negative physical and mental health outcomes for children. As well as you mentioned, the destruction of the family.
Right. So we know that there's also like-minded groups have organized in Prince Edward Island, from Prince Edward Island to British Columbia.
It looks like we will have actions across the country.
Right.
And I'm continuing to call out. So like Chanel said, they make up a day. I decided I was going to make up this day and call it a National Day of Action. There are a number of different ways that people can participate. In Vancouver, for example, there is a provincial by-election where a candidate, Karen Litsky, is running on a gender-critical platform. That means she's expressing concerns about what's happening in the public sphere with these trans incursions into our lives, the theft of women's identities, I use the word insertion of men into women's spaces, like rape shelters and bathrooms and change rooms and pool locker rooms and things like that. And so around the campaign, they're going to be talking a lot about this over the next 4 or 5 weeks, and they'll have some events out in British Columbia. There's an active parents group in Prince Edward Island that has rallied over 1,000 signatures about the incursion and the adoption of these trans education frameworks within the PEI education system. PEI was lucky it didn't happen there until late 2021. And we're inviting them to participate in some fashion to make a statement on that day, to give a sense across the country of the real concerns that people have about where it is now and where this is going.
The websites, if you want to participate, if you want to create your own day of action in your own community, there is a website, there's a Facebook page. You can, they're included in the links in this video. Contact Shannon, contact Billboard Chris, Josh, contact me, contact the website. Let us know your involvement and how you want to participate. And if you want to come out and defend your children, your families, and you made a good point, Chris, and defend our women as well.
Absolutely.
Everyone is under attack in Canada today, and we can and will win this with your support. Come out and show your support on June 9th. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Make sure to like, share, and follow. And if you'd like to spend some time at Scuttlebutt Lodge, click on the link below. I look forward to seeing you here at the Lodge.